let's go ahead and we'll get ourselves started. We will continue the story. So here's the deal. We're going to get going again and talk about that hole and how we're going to deal with that hole. So the next item on our agenda is railings. And railings actually have a very simple story. They're much simpler than the stairs because really railings are one of those objects where you draw a line to indicate where you want the rail to run, you choose the type, and then it pretty much takes care of itself. So it's always choose a path, choose a type, and you work. So let me show you what we have in mind. Here's the deal. I need to put a railing around that opening up on the second floor. Okay? So the rails for the stair, they came for free. You can get rid of them if you want to, but I can access them out. But I'm going to put a rail around this floor. And to do that, what I'm going to do is go up to the second floor. I'm going to go to the second floor because I'm going to put it at the second floor level. So start by doing that. Go on up top. We'll just zoom on in there. And we're going to find the railing tool. It's actually right next to the stair tool. Right up there. Railing. Choose that. Railings have types, the same way stairs do. In fact, the railings around the stairs also have the same types. So we'll be able to find some other types. We'll just go and use that simple handrail for right now. And here's the way it's basically going to work. I want to put a rail around that opening, so what I can do is actually just draw. And I can put this right on the boundary line. I'm actually going to put it out just a little bit further so you can see it. But I could put it right on the edge of the opening. I'm going to draw my nice little rail here. Okay. The only rule you have to worry about with rails is they have to be a single kind of continuous strand. If I try to separate it like that, if I have two pieces, what will happen is it'll complain the railing must be a single connected sketch. So I have to get rid of one of those to be a connected piece. So let me continue there, and I'll just take that extra piece out. And I'll finish that. And you'll see that was pretty much it. It's very easy to draw the railing. Now as you go ahead and work, and you draw your railings, things for the most part look pretty good. I'm going to put a centering in there and rotate this around for you. You'll see we're not 100% there. We still have this little issue of the ends of the rail. I'm going to orbit that around a little further so you can sort of see that better. There's a little gap. Can you see the gap between the top of the rail on the landing and the top of the rail on the stairs? And no worries, we just need to kind of close that gap. So let me show you how you do that. Okay, rail looks pretty good. That was good enough as a first try. Let's go through and adjust it. I'll choose that rail, and I can edit the path. Okay, there's the pink line again. Here's what you typically do to close a rail at the top there. We'll go through and draw some more lines. So I'm going to come to, let me do it from the center point. That's often a good choice. I know it's going to be a little bit off on this model because I did something funky with my stairs in this one particular house model. I'm going to come together there. They're very close. I need to have a single continuous loop, so I'm going to just trim that. What I'm doing is putting a little end cap. The rail will wrap around and actually join into the rail on the stairs. Okay, and I'll do a little trimming here to make that all look good. I'll do the same sort of thing over on the other side. I'm going to come from the center, come up, come over, and that's going to trim those up. Maybe I'll push that one in a little bit closer on this side. We'll finish that. And you will notice I'm not 100% good right here. It looks like I'm about half off. Every rail has its own definition of really relative to that line, okay, where it should go through and draw. And in this case, I know I have something set up, let's put something into the house where it's off by like another quarter inch or something like that. So it's not lining up perfectly. I could still go through and, oh, let me do this. I'm going to edit that. Maybe pull it to the inside. And that's going to be very close, but it's not going to line up perfectly, I can tell, just because there's something funny I did. I'm still off by like 1/8 of an inch. Can you see that little difference right there? Between where the rail is and where the rail the rail upstairs and the rail on the handrail, on the stairs. So let's talk about that. This is one of those issues that I want to warn you about, because we could fix that, but it could take a while. I actually might do a little bit of debugging to figure that out. But what I'm going to encourage you is this, because I think people always sort of struggle with this a little bit when they're doing their stairs. Close it up there. That little 1/8 of an inch that's off there right now. You're going to look at that. That is going to bug you. Okay. You will say, oh, I can fix that. So you're going to spend 15 minutes trying to fix it, and it won't quite be right. Then you're going to decide, well, I got to call Raj. I'm just going to find out what's wrong here. I'm going to come to office hours. I'm going to fix that. I'm going to get that 1/8 of an inch over there. Okay. And you're going to spend like 3 hours trying to figure out exactly how to get that thing where it wants to be. And the truth is, at this level of the model, you really don't need to. Okay. When it comes later in the process to actually doing the detailed construction drawings, then you want to worry about where that 1/8 inch is. For this type of design development work, you're really coming back to the client with the very first model. They're going to tell you, that's nice, but what if the stair was over on this side of the house instead? At which point the 4 hours you spent kind of really getting that 1/8 of an inch precision, you'll feel like, oh, I wasted my night. Okay, so don't do that. Allow yourself this notion that some things are off just a little bit. For this type of modeling, we don't need the perfection yet. We don't really have to fix it, okay, but it's going to take a little bit of messing around to figure out why that's off an 1/8, and it really has to do with just how the rail's defined and the parameters, and there's something about the offset relative to the line, and we'll figure it out. But don't waste your time right away. Yes? That's kind of an interesting question. Well, that's actually an interesting question. Before I say no, let me just try it. So if I use the align, I think it's going to move the whole rail as opposed to doing what I want. So here I am. I'll align. So you're thinking, what I want to do is almost align the edge over here to the edge over there. It's interesting. It's not letting me align. So what's going on here? I'm trying to get a snap on that. It's not doing that right now. No right off hand. No right off hand. Yeah, and it really has to do with something, just the difference between this way this is defined and this is defined, but we'll get it figured out. It's, the next model I'll show you, it's working right. There's something I just sort of did something in here, but get used to this idea. There's two things that are going to sort of bug you. One is the rails that don't quite line up, and they're going to be really difficult, so that's okay. The other thing that'll bother you is you're going to have these weird corners on your house where you bring some material from this side and some material from the other side, and it's going to look just funky at the corner. It's not going to join up looking really, really good. And again, we can always solve that with a little bit of debugging to figure out why it is. Chances are you're perfectly fine, just Revit's confused. And it does get confused. So don't assume that it's always you. A lot of times you are right. It's just a matter of kind of messing with Revit to get it to do the right thing. So again, don't sweat it in terms of what's going on. Okay. So I got this nice rail popping around there. That's looking pretty good. I've gone through and created the stair ever so lovingly. Cut that single hole in this floor. It's looking fantastic. We're ready for this model. It's ready to go. Let's talk about a different scenario, and that is as follows. If I had a building that didn't have 2 stories, but actually had 3 stories, or 4 stories, 5 stories. Okay. The idea of going through and cutting all these holes and adding the little rails and cutting the hole and adding the rail, it gets to be really, really tedious sometimes. Okay. So there are better ways to do that when you have a multi-story building, okay, that involve copying and pasting and some special variations. So I want to show you those just so when you move out of 2-story houses into commercial buildings that have a lot of stories, you sort of understand that there's quicker ways to do that. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to open up a new model. If you want to, you can too. New project. As much as I love my little house here, I'll close that up. Okay, and we're ready to go. So here's the deal. I'm going to create a multi-story building. And I'll just start by creating some levels. And if I go to the elevation view, you can see I have level 1 and level 2. But I want actually a level 3, a level 4, a level 5. I want to have more levels. So, in that elevation view, I'm going to go over to the level tool. Okay, levels, actually, on the architecture tab, it's over in the data section. It lets you draw additional levels. So this is where all these levels come from. If I want to draw another level, I can pull on out. Okay, and there's level 3. Now level 3 you see is an even height right now, 10 feet versus 8'6". No worries. I'll just choose it. It is an object just like any other object. I can change that to 10 feet. Okay, and now they're all even again. And I can go through and draw level 4. I'll say 10 feet above that. I'll have level 4. Okay. And I keep on drawing them. Okay, and that actually works out just fine. So try drawing a level, see if you get another level in there. Again, you come to a section view, use the level tool and draw it out. Now, if I have levels 3 and 4, that's not too bad, just going to draw them on out. If I have to do 50 of these, this is going to get very tedious. Okay, so let me show you a different one. There's this notion of offsetting. Offsetting is always copy something a set distance apart from something else. Okay? And it's really useful for doing this like creation of multiple levels. Because really, where does level 5 want to be? It wants to be 10 feet above. And where does level 6 want to be? It wants to be 10 feet above that. So it wouldn't be bad to have sort of a semi-automated way of doing this. And let me show you how that works. Under level, you have the option of drawing a level. That's right here, drawing a line. The other one that I always tend to gravitate towards is the green line. The green line is always this notion of picking something and using that as the basis for the geometry. So I'm going to choose the other tool, which is all about picking. Okay. And what I'm going to do is say I'll pick, and as I pick things, what I want to do is offset the distance. So if I want the next one to be 10 feet, the next one to be 10 foot higher, I'll put an offset of 10 feet in there. And now we're ready. So here's how offsetting works. I come over this other level, I'm just slightly above it, not quite touching it, just slightly above it. It'll suggest, hey, I can draw another one for you at this location. That's 10 feet away. If you like that option, just click and it'll put a second one there. I'll make a copy. And I can hover over the next one and click, and hover over the next one and click. So what I'm doing is, again, I have the pick tool. I put an offset in there of 10 feet, and then I just hover over the line, and it suggests the next level. So that's a really good way of creating just a whole bunch of floor levels. I could even array these or copy them in some other way. But it's a pretty good way to get started. So I get a bunch of floor levels. Yeah, I'll get 8 of them in there. Okay, so start by just giving yourself a bunch of floor levels. We'll need those in just a second. Once you got a bunch of levels, we're going to go through and put our basic design on level 1 and then copy it up. Let's take a look at that. I'm going to go to level 1. I'm going to put some walls down. I'm not going to be too careful about the walls because this is kind of a simple example. I'm just going to make, some rectangular walls, although I will make sure they only go up to level 2. And I'll put some walls down here. Now, it's kind of a big commercial building. That's okay. I'm going to actually put a little bit of a curtain wall in the corner just because I'm going to put some stairs over here. I want you to be able to see them really easily so they're not hiding behind the curtain wall. So let me do that. What I'll do is go through and choose that wall. I'm going to split it. I'm going to split the corner right here. I'm also going to split this one. So I'm just using a little split tool. Again, what I did was just choose the wall. The modify tools come up and splits one of the choices there. They don't look very different just yet. But this is a little section that I can change to, I'm going to change it to storefront. That's the curtain wall that has the grids in it. I'll change this one to storefront. Okay, so all I have so far is a box that has a glass corner. So if you want to, just see if you can catch up to there. We're just creating a box. I'm really just trying to create a single floor that I can copy up to the other floors. That's all I'm trying to do. Okay, so this is not looking too bad. Let me shade that just so it looks a little bit better. Next thing I want to do, I want to put a floor in here. Okay, So no worries. You're all around the floors. You know how the floors work. Get the architecture. Choose the floor tool. I can pick the walls again. I'll do a nice generic floor. I tend to pick solid walls. Now for this corner back over here, I could go through and try to hit the edge of the curtain wall. I tend not to do that. I tend to actually just sort of take the solid walls and trim them to the corner. Because often the center line of the curtain wall is a little bit off from the center line of the solid wall. I think of curtain walls as being subordinate to the floor. We tend not to actually determine geometry. Curtain walls sort of fill in around other things. So rather than going through and drawing that corner, I'm just going to trim, or just pick it. I'm just going to trim these two together to make that solid corner. Okay. Yeah, whenever I'm sketching, if I can get away with 4 lines, I'll get away with 4 lines. If I can get away, I try to keep the number of lines to the minimum to determine shape. Okay, so let's close that up. Finish that off. I got a floor on this thing. So far, are you with me? That sort of feel okay? Nothing up my sleeve? That's pretty basic stuff that you've been doing so far. Okay. We now want to go through and take that single floor. We're going to copy it up to the other floors. And I'm just going to copy the exterior wall. The truth is, if you have a lot of interior walls or some sort of core walls for the elevator or something like that, you probably put them in there too. I'm just going to do it with the exterior walls. The idea is kind of create as much detail as you want to copy to the other floors, and then just do the copy and bring it up. So I got this basic 1 floor going here. If I want to make a multi-story building, what I'll tend to do is actually just grab it in 3D. You can really, whatever mechanism makes sense. Okay. I grab 4 walls, some curtain walls, some floor. You'll see the curtain wall has always pins in it. That's because it's a pattern-based curtain wall. Sort of saying those things are sort of locked in rotation. If you want to see what you've selected, the filter will show you that. So you can sort of see I got some walls, 6 walls, 1 floor, 84 mullions, like a lot of different little pieces there. If you don't want to copy something, you can uncheck these categories and it will remove them from the selection. It's going to copy whatever I have selected. So I got that guy. I'm going to say copy it to the clipboard. Okay. So far, so good. It's on the clipboard. It's hanging out. We're ready to paste it some other places. So we're going to use the same thing we did when we started creating our 2-story house. Under paste, we could paste it in place very precisely, but I'm going to go through and say doing it to selected levels. And this gives us the option of actually copying to many different levels all at the same time. So I can choose align to selected levels. Give me a nice list of all my levels. So I'm on level 1 right now. If I want to copy this to level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, keep on going. All I got to do is choose those. I'm going to shift click to grab them all. So copy, then paste, align selected levels, and choose the levels you want to copy to. And when you say OK, very quickly, it'll go through and generate a building for you. So, in the scheme, not too bad. Wasn't too much work. Looks plausible. Turn this in. Okay, so, we can still put a roof on this. If later on I go through and add some interior walls or some common features, I can copy and paste them. You don't have to copy the entire floor. You can really choose whatever it is you want to copy. So, maybe I'm going to put the bathroom together on the first floor with all the stalls and the fixtures. I'll just copy that and then paste it up to the other floors. You can always do it in whatever way makes the most sense. So that's the idea. I got this basic little multi-story building. And why we did this is we just want to talk about the issue of stairs and how stairs fit into this. So we're going to put some stairs in here, kind of in this kind of glassy corner, going from level 1 to level 2. But we ultimately want to have them go all the way up. Question? Yes. We could have done that. I'm going to going to show you another way to create that hole. And it's even a little powerful. Very good. You were right. If we would have cut the hole in the floor and then copied that same hole would go up. Okay. Yeah. The difference, I'm just going to give you an idea of what the difference is. If I copy these elements, the truth is these are all independent still. So if I decide later to change the size of the hole on one floor, it wouldn't automatically change the hole on all the floors. Okay, because they're sort of copied instances that are considered separate. They are rated. Actually, it wouldn't. But we're going to start to use a different construct called a shaft. And a shaft is actually just a big void that you can put in the building. The shaft does that same thing. You draw a boundary, you kind of run it all the way up the building. The nice thing about the shaft, though, is the shaft not only cuts the floor, it cuts the ceiling, it cuts pretty much anything that gets in its way. Okay, so if you want to do like an elevator shaft or a stair shaft, or even like a mechanical shaft, it's a little more powerful. But you're right, you could do it the other way. It just the shaft will save you time in the long run. Okay, no, good for realizing it really is the same operation. So I'm going to go to level 1. I'm going to put some sort of stair in here. I'm going to say stairs, no worries. That's going to be fine. Level 1 to level 2. That's good. I'm going to put the stair over here. I'll come over about halfway. 9 and 9. I'll come over here. Got my little stair going there. I can even move this whole thing. Let me just move it all over so it's closer to the window. So I got a fantastic looking little stair here that's going from level 1 to level 2. Okay. Again, didn't cut any holes. Let's take a look at it in 3D. Come poking around down here. You can sort of see it, kind of poking through the floor over there. It's going from level 1 to level 2. In most commercial buildings, if the floor-to-floor height is the same, it turns out the stairs are amazingly the same. So I could take the stair and copy it up, and copy it up, and copy it up. But the average feature, they'll actually just automate that for you. And how that works is, if you have a stairway that you want to go all the way up, I can choose that stair. And you'll notice that there's not only level 1 to level 2, there's actually this thing they haven't talked about, which is the multi-story top. And what that's all about, if you go pulling down there, is if you have a repeated stair that's going to keep on going and repeat the same pattern, I can actually choose a higher level, and it'll just keep on looping it around until it gets up to that level. So I'll say apply. And it'll make that whole stair going all the way up. The nice thing about this stair is it's the same sort of thing. Here's the stair. If I decide I don't like that handrail and I want to put the pipe rail in, I can do that. It'll just change it for the entire stair. It thinks of itself as one big object, which is pretty good. So stairs and getting a multi-level stair actually is pretty easy to do just by changing that, going up to a higher level. This will work as long as the floors are the same floor-to-floor height. Okay. If you have a break, maybe your building has a bigger floor-to-floor height on the lower floors because it's commercial space or industrial space, and then it changes, no worries. Do 1 through 5 as one stair, and then do 6 through 10 as another stair. You go ahead and, as long as floor-to-floor height's the same, and in most of our buildings, commercial buildings anyway, it tends to be very, very similar. There may be small differences. So we now have this fantastic looking, like stair going up there. We need to cut the hole in the floor, as you know. So let's talk about how you can do that. We could go to level 2 and cut that hole, but the other way I want to recommend is, there actually is a special object called a shaft. What shafts do again is they cut through roofs, floors, and ceilings. So they do a pretty good job of kind of tidying everything up. So you only have to sketch it once, and then it'll kind of take care of subtracting that from everything. So if we choose the vertical shaft, we can draw some nice shaft opening. This could actually make it even bigger. I'll keep it. No, I'll make it big. So it goes all the way out to the corner. Notice that it has some nice properties over here. Base offset. So relative to level 1, you want to go down and cut a hole in the concrete on the first level. If yes, leave that. If no, change it to 0. That's just really, do you want it to go deeper than level 1? Do you want it to go high? Unconnected 20? Well, that'd be okay, but I would really much prefer, as opposed to unconnected 20, to just go all the way up to level 8. Okay, and just come all the way up through the building. Finish that up. And now, okay, it's actually cut out for the entire space. Can I see it there? There we go. So we have all the floors cut out. We have nice stairways going all the way up. So it's actually pretty quick to do something like this. Now the last thing you typically have to do on a multi-level stair like this, though, is you still have to go back and fix up the rails. We still have that problem where people coming in on the second floor are going to hit that rail and be in trouble, or hit that hole in the floor. So I'll go to level 2. And I still want to clean up this rail, so I'll put a rail in here. This one actually is right. I'll show you. It does kind of clean up the way you want. So I'm actually going to come on down. And I'll say I want to draw a rail really from... think about where it is. I think it's right in the center there. And I'll take that all the way over to the wall. Zoom out. I actually need a little more than that. That's one rail that I need. I need one over here on the side. So you can't kind of come in. Since I only can draw like single segments at a time, even though I would love to kind of do the other one, I really just have to close that one out first. Let me change that to the pipe rail. Okay, you'll see this one actually did align. Go figure. I still need a little bit of rail between those two different stair sections. Let me zoom out a little. So between this section and that section, I need a railing in there. And I'll just do it from the center here, over to the center there. We trim those up, TR to trim them. So I got that little rail. And if I was really, really good, I would put a railing over on this side too, because I don't want people to go dropping down the side over here. Make that a pipe rail. I'll just do the handrail for now. Okay, so we got that handrail in there. We have ever so lovingly crafted the perfect handrails at level 2. Okay, I'd like to get those same handrails at level 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so what do I got to do? Same thing we keep on doing. We'll grab that guy, him, and him. Okay, just those 3 items. I'll copy them to the clipboard and say paste them up to the other levels. Beauty. So now we actually have handrails going all the way up the building, and hopefully looking pretty good. Okay, so that's it for multi-stories. That's probably the most complicated thing you're going to do around here. Okay, so let's leave it there. Well, actually, that's sort of interesting. You know, I'm goofing in my little handrails, just so you know. Let me undo that. Sorry for everyone who saw that on the video. Let's go back to 2. What I really need to do is, that's the top of the stair. Actually, it doesn't do this. That would actually have an opening on both sides. What really happens, just let me get it right. Like that. That one goes down, that one goes up. No, it is right. I'm sorry. I'm goofing in my own. I shouldn't overthink this. Just on the 8th floor. Correct. On the 8th floor, I have to do that. Just close it off. Okay, thank you. Never mind that. Okay, so go back up to the 8th floor. Just on, oh, I still have to copy and paste it. Try redoing it. come on, you. No, I'll leave that alone for now. You know what I need to do. I'll only fix it on that one because I want to show you something else instead. Okay, in our last few minutes today, what I do want to show you is the whole notion of going through and working with design options. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Okay, in the notes, there's all sorts of stuff about kind of creating these things. But here's where I want to go. Here's the idea of design options. We have this fantastic 8-story building. And for this 8-story building, honestly, the shell of the building, a lot of the work we've done in that stairway, we're not going to change that. That's going to stay the same in whatever design options we put together. I do want to think about some options for some of the other smaller features of the building. So, for example, I could think about like, different arrangements of the furniture on the office floor, or maybe a different arrangement of the office walls and doors, things that, maybe I want to give you a choice between one variation or another. Let me kind of show you what I have in mind. Oh, so the way that actually works is we have the things that actually stay the same. They're called the main model. That's the context that never changes. And we have different options. We have sets of options. So, for example, the wall layout could be one option set. The furniture layout might be a separate option set. And then we'll have specific choices within that set. So wall layout 1, wall layout 2, wall layout 3, furniture choice 1, furniture choice 2. So there's a hierarchy of these things. Okay. And at any one time, we can sort of have a bunch of these things. One of the different options is considered to be the primary option. Or think of it as the leading candidate. If we had to choose something today, the one that's considered primary, it's the one that would be put into effect. Okay, we can change that later. But there's always, in your options, there's always one thing which is considered the primary. It's the winner. It's the current choice. Okay? So let's show you what I mean by that. I'm going to come over here to my 8th floor, which has no rails, since I didn't do that. But I will come over here and put in some walls. So I'm going to say, let's put in some walls. Maybe some nice interior walls. I'm going to go through and, just make some offices over here. I got some nice walls here. Okay, and I'll put some doors in those walls. And this is just sort of arbitrary. I'm just putting some doors in. As I put that one, if I hit the space bar, I can get it to rotate. So this is my idea of how I might want to lay out the offices on this floor. Similarly, I can go ahead and put some furniture in here. So let me grab some furniture components. You'll see there's some desks in here. I'm going to put some desks in here. You'll see I'm a very unimaginative designer when I'm in a hurry. And I'll say components. Let me even load in some chairs. It's all just making an example for you. So I'll get some, we'll get the executive chairs. These guys rate. Okay, so this is my first design. Okay, very much like as you do your house designs, you'll come up with what you think is your primary idea of what you think the house should look like. And I want to give you an option. And I'm going to actually create a couple of different options. I'm going to get a different set of options for what the walls could look like. I'm going to get a different set of options for what the furniture could look like. So just kind of giving you some choices. Okay, so here's how that looks. The notion of design options lives in a couple different places. It lives under the Manage tab. There's a Design Options button here, which sort of brings up a hierarchy you can choose. It also actually lives down here, and in the status bar. So either way will really take you to the same place. And if you choose Design Options, you just get a hierarchy, where there's not much hierarchy to it yet, but you can create different sets and then options within those sets. So my first set, for example, I can rename that. Let me that just be wall layouts. Okay, and they have option 1 under there. So under that, I'll say option 1 is going to be, I'll rename that as kind of small offices. Let me create a new option, and I'll rename that, I'll call that big offices. Okay, so I'm going to give you two different options about the size of the offices. Does that make sense so far? Okay, next thing is I'm going to create another option set. This is going to be my furniture options. So I could go through and rename this. I'll call it furniture options. And what? One of them, I'm going to rename this. I'm going to call these desks. I'm going to create a new option under there and rename that. I'm going to call it cubes. So it's got a couple different options. For the assignment, you really have to come up with a single option set with a couple options. You don't have to actually come up with a lot of different options. It's one thing you're going to change. So whether it's the furniture layout, or cabinets, or a garage versus carport, whatever, you'll choose one small thing you're going to change about the house. Okay. So we got this sort of notion of different options and option sets. Let's put it into effect. Say close to that. So we're now looking at what's considered the main model. Okay, the main model down here, that is the default. It's the constant that we're looking at. And for the issue of the wall layouts, there's a few things I'd like to make changeable. So I'm going to leave the stairs and the outer boundary, leave that all just the same. But these interior walls right here, I'm going to say that's something I might want to change between those two different options. So how I do that is, by default, everything's in the main model. All your objects are considered main. If I choose some objects, like these guys, you can get that little door too. Okay. Oops. Try that again. Okay. I can add them into an option set. What does that do? It takes them out of the main and says, okay, you're in one of the variations. You may not be in both the variations. To add them into the set, how I do that is, there's a button down here which adds to set. It's also under the Manage tab, right there, Add to Set. But when you choose Add to Set, what it does is basically says, okay, you've chosen some objects. Which sets do you want to put them in? Now, this is my small offices option. I could just go ahead and put these in the small offices option, and it'll copy it in there. Okay. I could also copy it into big offices. Sort of choice. It depends, as we do big offices, whether you want to use these as a starting point and just move things around and diff from that, or whether you just want to draw the big offices from scratch. Either way. For right now, I'm just going to go through and just put them in small offices. So big offices will be easier. So here we have in small offices. Say OK. Okay. Incredibly anticlimactic. It sort of shows exactly the same. Okay. So if I switch over now to the option set, or the option small offices, again, looks pretty much the same. One small difference you might see is that everything which is not in the option set is grayed out. Only the things which are in the option are available to us right now. Okay, so it's trying to say, okay, in this, if you're editing, these are the things that you said are part of the consideration. If I switch over to big offices, you'll see those things don't exist. And the reason they don't exist is only the main model, the constant objects are there. This is really a blank slate at this point. So I can put whatever else I want in here. You know, be kind of the option as opposed to those small offices. So let's go ahead and put some offices in here. Again, I'll choose some offices. Oh, these are going to be big offices. So kind of a big office like this, maybe a big office like that, a big office over here. Okay, we'll go through and put some doors in there. Okay. So these are all in the second option. Okay, so let's think about what's going on. If I'm looking at big offices, I see this. If I switch back over to small offices, I see that. It really is two alternate universes. I can choose one, turn one off, switch on over if I want to. Okay. When I go back to main model, okay, what's going to show up? What do you think is going to show up there? Good guess. whatever's primary shows up in the main model. So if I go to main model now, it looks just like small offices. Okay. If I go back over to big offices, we'll see the difference. But if I go to primary or to main model, it'll always show primary. Okay. Now, if at any time you want to change your primary because you decided that the second option is a better alternative, what you can do is go to the design options and see how it says small office primary? To change big offices and make that primary. Okay. If you do that, the main model now shows big offices as opposed to small offices. Here it's sort of complaining because of a wall joining in that. It's a little upset about that, but that's just a warning. We'll let that slide for now. Okay, so whatever's primary is going to show up in the main model. Same thing with those desks over there. So let's talk about these desks and the options for that. So here are the desks hanging around. This is going to be my desk option. If I want to put all of them into an option set, I'll drag around and grab them. And I'll say Manage and add them to a set. Now, it's giving me the wall layout option set, but that's not what I want. I want to switch down to the furniture ones. I'm just going to put them in the desks option. Okay, so this is desks, or it's main model, but it's showing those desks because the desks is the primary option. Okay, no worries. If I switch over to desks, looks just the same, but they're highlighted. If I switch over to cubes, you see they go away. Okay, because they're not in this option. So let's put some cubes in here. I'll go to Architecture, Components. Turns out there actually are some nice cube components. Let me grab one. Oh, where are they? It's under Furniture Systems. Okay, grab those. Cubal. Oh, there it is. Drop it in. I somehow can't get those to join. There's still two? Jeez Louise. I'm going to place one, place another. It's like they stick funny. Okay, here's my cube system. Okay. Again, I could put the chairs in there. Whatever. It's just all straightforward. Okay. I'm putting this in the cubes option. So these all belong to cubes. Put some of those executive chairs in there. People need a place to sit. Okay, zoom out. This is my cubes option. If I go back to main model, what's going to show up? Desks or cubes? Desks. Okay, it's primary. Okay. If I switch over and I want to have the cubes become the winning option, it'll be Manage, Design Options. I'll make that primary. Okay. Now, this all works pretty well in terms of being able to see the different options until it comes time for you to print out. Here's the deal. You go through and you change between main and primary and stuff like that. When it comes time to print, it will always print main. Unless you tell it otherwise. So even if I go through and I change this so that it says, oh, I want this view to show me the big offices or the desks. Okay. As soon as you print, it'll show you whatever the primary was. So let's talk about that, because every view has this ability to choose which design option to show you. And here's how this works. So last important thing to remember about this. Okay. For the most part, just putting things in the different options, that's pretty easy. It's this part about printing that gets everyone in trouble. So level 8, good old level 8 over here, it has some view properties to it. So we'll say visibility graphics. And we haven't paid attention to these, but there's actually something called design options. And for the different options, by default, it'll always show you what's considered the automatic option. That is whatever is the primary. Okay, so it'll always print out with primary. And that's kind of okay most of the time. Usually when you print, you do want to see whatever the winning option is. Okay. Let me show you, though, when you want to show me several options and print them out, how you need to do that. I'm going to duplicate this view. I'm going to say level 8 and give it a name like, oh, big offices. I'm going to duplicate that again. And I'm going to create one that's specifically going to show me level 8 small offices. So what's the difference between all these? It's really just in the visibility graphics and all of them. In the same way that we can turn on and off different features and highlight things for big offices here, when I say visibility graphics, as opposed to leaving it set to automatic, which will always have it flip-flop depending on what the current primary is, I can set it to be one explicit one. So I can say, you know, don't leave it automatic. Always show me big offices. No matter what the primary is, always show me big offices in this view. Similarly over here, on small offices, okay, if I always want to see small offices regardless of what the primary is, visibility graphics, don't leave it automatic. Always show me the small offices. And that way, big offices, small offices, you have a view that's locked to a specific design option. Okay, so that just gives you the ability to control what's seen as opposed to letting it change dynamically. Yes? It'll always print, well, it'll print me, well, this is interesting. Yeah. In this case, it'll print the main model, but because we set the view's design options to show small offices in this case, that's what it'll print out. I'm doing a bad job of explaining kind of where the distinction is. If you're seeing it in this view, what will always print is what happens if you come back to like over here in big offices, see how it says main model? Because basically when we set that visibility option, you're not letting the option flip or vary. You're locking it to one specific option. So if this says main model and you're seeing what you're happy with, that's what's going to print. It's like the easiest way to think about it. Because what you've done is, by locking one of the options to a specific option, or one of the views to a specific option, you just remove that variable from the equation. You're saying lock that as opposed to letting it flip. So, that's the thing. Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, here's what it'll be. So level 8, this view, which is both are automatic, okay, these will change. This view will always change based on whatever the current primary is. Okay. Whereas these two won't. This is always locked to big offices, always locked to small offices. So, yeah. Locking it just gives you the ability to kind of put it in there. So what you'll typically do is you'll have one that you'll print as your primary, and then great, this is my primary option. And you'll have a little view that sort of shows what the small changes that you're making, and you lock it to the change so that you can sort of see that as an alternative. Okay? Hopefully that'll make sense. I think when you start playing with it, it's kind of a funny distinction about how first we have two alternate universes, and now we have the ability to kind of show one depending on how you set these variables. But yeah, hopefully that'll make sense. Stick around and play with it. Okay, let's go ahead and adjourn.